From Forex Traders Daily, this is your daily analysis with Ross Mullins, live from Richmond, Virginia.
Hello everyone, this is today's video analysis for September 12th, 2016. I hope everyone had a great weekend and ready to get started with trading for this week. In today's video, I'm going to do a general overview of each of the U.S. currency pairs as we anticipate this week's trading. And I'm going to do some highlights of some key levels that we're going to look for entry and exit opportunities as we go through our week. We have a relatively quiet news calendar for the day today here on Monday, which is fairly typical. However, this week's calendar is full of events that may trigger some volatility, and you'll want to be sure to check your financial calendars for when those latest releases will be occurring. So let's go ahead and dive right into the charts. Let's start with the USD CHF. The US dollar versus the Swiss franc. Over the past several weeks, we've been studying this range, the black box that you see here on my daily time frame, and the trend pattern within the range. We've seen rises and falls. You can see the black and the blue trend lines here within the range, showing us each one of the falls on the black trend lines, the rises on the blue trend lines. Currently, we've been, for the most part, in one of the fall parts of the pattern along the black trend line. However, the last couple of days of last week started going back up again. So very interesting there. Let's go ahead and zoom it in a little bit on the daily time frame. You can see the 100 period moving average sitting right inside the yellow shaded area as well, currently where the market is finding resistance. The yellow shaded area is 97.35, 97.55. So what we're going to be looking for this week is if the market stays within and underneath that yellow shaded area in the 100 period moving average, we could look for the resumption of the fall along the black trend line within the similar pattern that we've seen over the past several months. If it breaks to the top side of the yellow shaded area, we might look for continuation higher that we started the last couple of days of last week. So really, we need a breakout of this yellow shaded area, 97.35, 97.55. Of course, later on this week, we have some significant news out for the Swiss franc. We have the S&P monetary policy and rate information coming out on Thursday at 3:30 a.m. Eastern U.S. time. Definitely could be a big player here for this currency pair. You'll want to pay attention and make note of that. Of course, there's also other U.S. data throughout the week that could affect this currency pair. But I think Thursday will be a significant game changer here for the U.S. franc as we go through our week. Take it down to the 4-hour time frame. Again, I think what we need to see is a breakout of that yellow zone to give us confidence. Currently, I would say probably will be watching for the breakdown of 97.35 and the continuation lower within the long-term downtrend that we've studied here along that black trend line. Of course, that is the direction the current market seems to be going in for the most part. So I'd probably focus in on that for the day today, but definitely watching for the break to the top side as well for the U.S. franc. Take it over here to the EUR-USD, the euro versus the U.S. dollar. Of course, we typically expect that this currency pair is going to be just the opposite of the U.S. franc because they typically move that way. They're inversely correlated. So we could see the 100 period moving average. Instead of sitting underneath it, we're sitting on top of the 100 period moving average. Over the past several weeks, we've seen a bit of a rising trend channel between these two red trend lines. You see the rising lows, the rising highs between these two red trend lines. We've been bouncing around in there for the past several weeks. Zooming in a couple of times here on the euro, you can see last week we saw the beginnings of fall. Again, we're sitting right on top of the 100 period moving average. Coincidentally, it's yellow, just like the Swiss franc is. I think that's just a coincidence. If it breaks underneath the 100 period moving average, the 1.1205 level, we'll look for it to continue to go lower. If it finds support here at this yellow shaded area, we could look for reversal and it turn back higher towards the orange zone. And of course, as we discussed last week, if it can get through that orange shaded area and the 112.80 level, we could even be looking for it back in the mid to upper 113s, the blue shaded area at the top of the chart. On the other side, again, pushing underneath here, we start to look for it to go back down. We have, again, quite a bit of news this week. Might see some bleed over from the S&P over here into the euro dollar. Of course, quite a bit of U.S. news as we go through our week as well. We look at today, and we do have one of the FOMC members speaking at 1 p.m. Eastern U.S. time today. That'll be pretty interesting here for the euro dollar. We might see some movement here. ECB President Draghi is scheduled to speak at 5 a.m. on Tuesday, so that, again, could be something to watch here But again, watching the news and keeping an eye on this yellow shaded area, 4-hour time frame, you can see as we get down here to the 4-hour, there it is sitting there inside or just on top of the yellow shaded area. I don't think I would sell it right now for sure. It doesn't look like a good place to sell it. Maybe even looking for an opportunity to go long towards the orange zone, break the orange zone, and go higher. The only reason to go short right now is it has to break through that yellow shaded area for the euro dollar today. GBP USD, again, some significant news as you go through your week this week for the British pound. We have just about every day something that may affect this currency pair. Starting with Wednesday, we have some news out of the UK. We go into Thursday, significant news, monetary policy, bank rate information out of the UK at 7 a.m. on Thursday. Likely a high impact piece of news coming up on Thursday for the GBP USD, and of course all the other US data this week as well. Since the Brexit vote, of course, we've been stuck inside this black box. We've studied that in the live trade room, zoom it in a couple of times. You can see the market last 3 days of last week fell down here into the green zone, finding support just above the red trend line here. So we're sitting just above there. So obviously, if you're going to go short, you don't want to do it right here on top of the green zone. Doesn't make a lot of sense there. If you're looking to go short, you look for that closer to the pink zone, or possibly even all the way up here at the yellow shaded area into the 3,400 level. So those folks looking to go short, which I think could be something to watch for with that news this week out of the UK, 33.15, 1.3350, the pink shaded area, likely to be your best opportunity to go short. If you're looking to go long, then obviously so far today the green shaded area has been your main focus for that, and that's into the 32.25 to 50 level. Let's take it down to the 4-hour time frame. You can see what's been happening down here. Just finding some temporary support down here into the green shaded area. Again, if you're going to go short, try to get as close as possible. 133, 133.15. The pink shaded area. If you're looking to go short, that minimizes your risk and maximizes your potential gain back towards the green shaded area. The risk in that scenario likely is the break above the pink zone. We start looking for it to go higher. So if you're going to go short, let it get to the pink zone. Before you do that, target the green zone or lower. If you're looking to go long, for whatever reason, try to get as close as possible to the green shaded area this week for the pound dollar. Take it over here to the USD CAD. Again, lots of information last week for the US CAD, causing the market to turn around and go back in the other direction that it was going in, which was bearish. Now we've seen the last 3 or 4 days be quite bullish here for the US CAD. Kind of breezing through the calendar for this week. We don't have significant news out of Canada until we get into Friday. So mostly what we're going to be watching for is US data. Maybe some oil information this week could cause a little bit of a stir. Zoom it in here again on the daily time frame. We've been studying this black box in the trade room for the most part within the range along the black trend line. We've been on the rise. We found support, started moving back higher. Take a look at this yellow zone. It's quite significant here for the US CAD, and we'll be studying this a little bit more in the trade room. But take a look at the last time. Let's just go ahead and zoom it in one more time. Last time we were here, 1, 2, 3, 4 days, found resistance, reversed all the way back down into the 2800s. So here we are again, 1.3100, challenging it. Obviously, I wouldn't buy it right now. Not a great place to buy it. Risk reward right now is just telling us that right now is not a great place to buy it, because the last time we were here, the market found resistance and reversed. You can see that right here. So terrible place to buy it. If you're going to buy it, you want it to get above 3130, above the yellow shaded area. Then you can target back here towards the orange zone. At least that's what happened the last time over here. So at least the orange zone becomes your target above 3130. But as long as it's underneath it, I don't think you want to buy it. If you're looking for resistance and reversal, this is a good place to start looking for it here from the yellow shaded area, and then you'll target back down to the pink zone. Take it down to the 4-hour time frame. Again, terrible place to buy it. We've already studied that. You don't want to buy it right now. Take a look at what happened over here on the left-hand side. Just found resistance in reverse. So, again, I don't think you want to buy it. Watch oil prices. If oil prices start to take a fall, then maybe it does break through the yellow shaded area. If oil prices are on the rise, though, this week, then we start to look for it head back down towards the pink shaded area and maybe even lower for the US CAD. All in all, you just don't want to buy it right now. If you're going to buy it, back to the pink zone or above the yellow zone. If you're looking for any opportunity, I think for the day today, resistance and reversal may be the name of the game for the US CAD. Take it over here to the US yen real quick. Long-term downtrend, daily time frame, blue trend line, nothing really new. We've been studying that in the live trade room as well. Let's just take it down to the 4-hour time frame. You can see what happened over the past few days. Found resistance at the green shaded area, back underneath the yellow shaded area here. Zoom it in one more time. You can see it back underneath the yellow zone. If you're going to go short, And let's talk about that first. If you're looking to go short on the US yen, then obviously the closer it gets to that pink zone would be very discouraging. We've already seen support here, over here on the left. You've seen support here. So you don't want to go short on top of 101.60, 101.35. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. If you're going to go short, allow it to rise back into the yellow zone at minimum. Then you know at least your risk is smaller. The risk at that point is that it breaks back above the yellow zone, because we know if it does that, we're back into the green zone. So if you're looking to go short, wait for it to go back to the yellow zone or break through the pink zone. Otherwise, looking for support and reversal again from the pink zone may be something that we watch for, like it did the last time we were here for the US yen. Moving on over to the AUD USD, we've seen some reversal for this pair. Let's zoom out real quick. Weekly time frame, take a look at the long-term red trend line. We've studied that in the live trade room. Daily time frame, there it is, testing that red trend line a few times, coming back down from there. We're testing right on top of the 100 period moving average right now. That's very interesting. Yellow shaded area, quite significant. Green trend line, we've been on the rise, but we're challenging that today. Let's go ahead and zoom it in. Look at that yellow zone. We've seen it here as support before. Look right here, look back here, look back here. Resistance as well into the yellow zone. 75.15 to 75.35 is that yellow zone. Sitting within or on top of it, we're looking for support. So if it gets back above the yellow zone, 75.35 or so, we look for it to go back up to the pink shaded area. If we can get a satisfactory break underneath 75.15, even 7,500, then we look for the continuation of the slide lower. But right now, not a great place to go short. 4-hour time frame, again, you get down here, very similar yet opposite of the US CAD, isn't it? We've seen support here. You could adjust that yellow zone maybe a little bit lower, but we've seen support here, getting it close as possible to 7,500. We're there right now. Again, watching for clues to support and reversal. Definitely watching for an infusion of buy orders. Could be something to watch for today, but a clear breakdown of that yellow zone. Again, we may adjust that yellow shaded area in the live trade room later on today, but a clear breakdown of that yellow shaded area, we look for it to head back down here towards the orange zone at the bottom of the chart. And that would, of course, be in the current direction of our momentum for the Australian dollar. Take it down to the NZD USD long-term uptrend. We've studied that so much in the live trade room. We've reached the highest peak high of the trend over the past couple of days, so I was very discouraged about going long at the highest high. It just never makes a lot of sense to me. But we've seen a little bit of intraday short-term reversal. Zoom it in a couple of times. Take a look at that. We've seen the last 3 days be quite bearish, challenging back into this congestion zone inside the black box. We'll continue to watch for reversal clues here for this currency pair. One last thing here. Let's take this trend line. Take a look at that. From the low to this low, just before the highest high, you can see we're challenging that today. So that's very interesting here for the New Zealand dollar. Of course, U.S. news will likely affect this currency pair as we go through our week. Just kind of taking a quick scan of the news calendar. We do have some news out of New Zealand this week as well. Those folks that are looking to go short on the New Zealand dollar, you're at a difficult place to do that on top of that red trend line and the orange shaded area. You need to go up, likely, at least minimum, back here to the pink shaded area, 73.25, 73.55, kind of similar to what you see back here. If you're looking for it to find resistance, look back here on the left. The pink zone becomes your resistance zone. Resistance at the pink zone targets the orange zone again, like we've already seen today, under the orange zone. Finally, we'll start to see some further movement lower if it can get underneath that orange shaded area. We're back into the green zone. So that's at least the current direction the market's been going in. Again, we don't have a lot of news on here on the first day of the week. Some low to medium impact news, especially here at the early part of the U.S. session. Nothing really to speak about until we get into the afternoon time. We got a few speakers in the afternoon times into the evening, but nothing really here during the early parts of the U.S. session for the day today. So I think what we're looking for is the market to bounce around a little bit today. No real significant trending action until we get some more significant news as we go through our week this week.
From Forex Traders Daily, this has been your daily analysis with Ross Mullins. If you would like to get Ross's analysis on all the currency pairs he's watching and all the trades he takes today, join him in his live trade room by clicking on the link below. Please leave any comments you have about today's video in the comments section below.